Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Um, God, I feel like I haven't done this in so long. Please like and subscribe. Um, so people can stop looking at my channel and being like, wow, she has 20 subscribers. Thanks. Anyways, so obviously this is gonna be like my elementary school story times because there's a lot, so it's probably gonna be a really long video. And I'm gonna do my makeup because oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm planning on going thrifting today. I haven't done my makeup in so long. And oh my god, they're all the way over there. My hair clips. Um, so yeah, let me just like get into it because again, this is gonna be long. So starting off strong, I will say my elementary school was not a fan of my grade. Neither was my middle school. Um, we weren't like the best group of kids, but that's okay. Hey, that's okay. Um, so fifth grade graduation, they would use zip ties. Whoa, to put up these big stars with like students' first name and last initial on them, and they would use them. They would put them up on the fencing of the basketball court, and on the last day of school, they would like take them down, like give them back to the students, whatever. You can like prize it and like frame it, whatever. So they were I don't know what the hell they were made out of. They're made out of like plastic or something. I don't know. I don't know what that material is called, but the corners were very, very, very sharp. And because my grade's my grade, I guess, we all decided to throw them at each other. And kids were getting like hurt. So, anyways, the school banned those after my grade graduated. Sucks for them though. At least my grade still got the stars. Um, anyways, moving on. My first story is I have it all down in my notes because I didn't want to forget any. And I was in first grade, so not elementary school, alright? There's like woods next to it, but they're like very, very small woods, like itty bitty. Like, sorry, my lips are so dry. For most parts of the woods, you can probably see like the other end. They're very, very, very small. But we are still like strictly not allowed in them. Why did I say I graduated elementary school years ago? We were still like very strictly not allowed. They'd get like really, really, really mad at you if you went in. And one day in first grade, a kid in my grade found a gun in the woods. Yeah. So I mean, like it's America. Like, what exactly did you expect? But I still remember there's a police officer in my town who goes to the different schools and he brings his like service dog. He's like a therapy one though. He's not one of the like big scary ones. Like students love him. Students love the dog. This was before the dog era because this was like 3 years before that dog came into the story. But anyways, he had to come to my first grade class because the kid was obviously in my class, and talk to us about like gun violence and why we weren't allowed in the woods. Why was it there? I have no clue. Those woods are full of empty beer cans and stuff. Yes. The next three. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, everybody at my elementary school was like in my grade, I guess, was like very violent. Like looking back on it, we had no reason being that mad all the time. But one day, these two kids in my fifth grade class, this is watered down. All the ice melted. Not naming names. Were like in an argument, and one of them picked up one of the desks and threw it at the other kid, and that's the whole story time. But like, what possesses you to pick up a desk and throw it at another kid? I'm not gonna lie, my classmates were cheering for that kid because the other kid was really fucking annoying and weird. Okay, forgot another one. When we were in fourth grade, we were in indoor recess, and this one kid was making fun of another kid's drawing, and I guess that kid had about enough of the other one who was like making fun of his drawings. So he turns around and he stabs that kid like in the gut with his pencil so hard the kid started bleeding. Not a lot, but a little bit. And was in the nurse's office for the next like half hour. And then when I was in kindergarten, when I was a wee little lad, my 5th grade teacher was not too happy about it, and then she yelled at us after she yelled at the other 2 kids. My 5th grade teacher was such a bum though, so it's fine. When I was in kindergarten, I was at recess, and I was in kindergarten. Please keep in mind, I was like sitting in like the dirt, like poking bugs with sticks. That was a joke, but I realized I think that was actually what I was doing. I think I was like drawing in the dirt and poking bugs and stuff. I don't know. I was with a few friends, and I was like thinking to myself, and all of a sudden I was like, I really have to take a shit right now. And I was about to ask my teacher, oh, can I go to the bathroom? I haven't done my makeup in a while, and I really hope it's my right shade. It's my winter shade, and it's summer now. I don't get much darker, so in theory it should be fine. And a different girl asked before I got the chance to do my hair in my fucking face. Oh my god. And I was like, this bitch. I was so mad at her. Like, one-sided beef for like a day. Anyways, and the teacher was like, sure. So I was like, she totally should have let me go first. I have to go more. Like, I matter more. I was really mad about it. And so I was like, oh my god, I have to shit, like really, really bad. This girl's taking her sweet fucking time in the bathroom. Although I had no concept of time, so in reality it was probably like 3 minutes. So then finally my teacher's like, oh, okay, like Alex, you can go to the bathroom. And I was like, fucking finally. So I run because there was a big hill at my school, so you had to go down the hill from the school to get to the playground where we were. And so I run up the hill. I run into like the modular that my kindergarten class was in, and I run to the bathroom. And I could have sworn on like everything that I like shit myself already, but like as when I like sat down on the toilet, I like there was nothing in my underwear. So in my head, I was like, oh, good, I did it. See, what actually happened was that I did shit myself. And what I didn't realize was that when I pulled my pants down, as one does, to use the bathroom, the shit fell out and fell onto the floor. And I didn't see it somehow. And they had to get a janitor to get it later. And he went in and he put it in an empty Dunkin' bag and walked out, like no words exchanged. I was like, oh shit, yo, that was my bad. And this one day in 4th grade, this girl who I hate, still don't like to this day, she's such a bitch, but whatever. She is talking to me, and I was like talking to this one guy that I was like friends with at the time, and she had somehow mistook it for an argument. I have no idea how. Forgot to put aquaphor on parts of my face. Yeah, no clue how she did that, but her and that guy are like right next door neighbors to each other, and she was like, oh, do you need me to like do something about him? I was like, no. What? She was like, oh, I can throw rock through his window for you. I was like, why would you do that? She was like, oh, I did it once before, blah blah blah. Like I was mad at him, so I like threw a rock through one of his windows. Why? Like, hello. And then anyways, the kid that she was talking about one time got mad at I think the principal or something, and he came with another kid from my grade after school one day and picked up a hefty rock and threw it through a window at my school. Bragged about it, but I guess there wasn't actual proof that it was him. He was like talking to me about it. He was like, oh yeah, oh wait, do you see the window broken? I was like, yeah, who did that? He was like, I did it. I was like, okay. Right. Like so he didn't even end up getting in trouble. That kid did a lot and didn't get in trouble for it. I think he was like struggling though at the time. It was like something, I don't know. And then in kindergarten, the kid who got a desk thrown at him when we were in 5th grade. Apparently, he also threw a rock through a window in his kindergarten classroom. Why? No fucking clue. Um, right. Because that makes sense. Because that makes sense. What are my other stories? I'm gonna read them off three at a time. Okay. So when I was in 5th grade, I was in gym, and I was bouncing like a basketball. I forget what we were doing. I think it was just like a free for all day, like do whatever you want. Um, and I was bouncing like a basketball, and I was talking to these two girls I was friends with, and I tried to like do the like dribble between my leg thing, but I wasn't paying enough attention. And when the ball came back up from between my legs, like behind me, it like hit me in the finger, and I was like, "Ow, my finger really hurts." And they're like, "Did you break it?" I was like, "No, how would I break a finger doing this?" And then I like looked at my hand, I looked at my finger, and I tried to bend it, and I couldn't bend it. I was like, "Oh, right. Right." So they're like, "Okay, wait, like yeah, like because you can't bend a bone if it's broken." I was like I guess. So then they were like, "Okay, go ask to go to the nurse." So I asked to go to the nurse. The gym teacher was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went to the nurse, and she was like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," like, cause she asked me to like move it and all this stuff, and she was like, "It definitely like seems like it is. I would say like come back at the end." Like she gave me one of those like braces that went around it. She was like, "Oh blah blah, like come back later and I'll like look at how it's doing." I was like, "Okay." It took like a little bit to convince my teacher to let me go because my teacher didn't like me, but that's okay. Like later in the day, obviously, my 5th grade teacher was not a fan. Anyways, I don't use this contour. Why is it? Why is it there? TF. Um, so I eventually went back, and she like took the thing off to look at my finger, and it was really swollen, and it was starting to bruise, and I like don't bruise very easily either. And she was like, "Ooh, yeah, let me like email your mom and tell her to like, go get it like looked at after school." I'm like, "Okay." So then she emails. Fuck, I just got it in my hair. Mi madre, who does nothing. So then next day, I'm back in school. I go back to the nurse because my finger has swollen too big for my like finger brace thing she gave me. There's a hair on me. And she was like, "Did you not get it looked at?" I was like, "I did not." I did not. And she was like, "Why not?" I was like, "Because my mom said it was fine." And then I'll like cut the details because again, this is gonna be a very long video. Basically, I found out it was broken 3 days later. 3 days later, it had swollen to nearly twice the size of the rest of my fingers, which both my school nurse and the lady at urgent care were like baffled by. And by on like the second day of my finger being broken, but like obviously before I found out, my like middle finger on my it was this finger that I broke. This finger, unintentional, started to hurt, and I just like didn't acknowledge it because I was like, I don't know, my finger's already probably broken, and like everyone's making a huge deal out of it, so I'm probably being annoying. So I'm just not gonna say anything. Like I don't know why my finger just hurts for no reason. It'll go away. So I wake up the morning that I got like my X-ray back, and they were like, "Yes, your finger is in fact broken. Do you see right there where the bone broke?" Yeah. Um, and I just like soft lodged my like middle finger. I was like, "Yeah, like I don't know, like it's kind of hurting." And my mom's like, "Can I look at it?" I was like, "Sure." And mom was like, "Ooh, ooh." So I had a really bad infection on my finger. No idea why or how it got there. No fucking clue. The doctor had asked me, they're like, did you have a hangnail recently, a paper cut, anything along the lines of that? I was like, no. So yeah, I have no idea how it happened, but my mom was like, okay, you have a really bad infection. The whole from right here all the way around, like right there, was like red, really like swollen, and the skin looked like rubbery almost, if I can describe it. And then like all right here was like white and like dead skin and stuff. Anyways, going to the doctor was like really surprised. He was like, "Oh my god, my wife has one like a third of the size of this, and she's been complaining about it all night." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not your wife though. Can you like fix my finger now? That's like I'm pretty sure that's what I'm here for." And then I had to get it drained, and then I had to get antibiotics that I had to take for 2 weeks. I had to like soak it every night for like 30 minutes. It was really rough. And then once it was like finally healed, all of the skin like fell right off because it like literally all died from the infection. So that was cute. Um, what the fuck was my next story? Every now and then. Oh, it was not. I think I shared this like literally last night though. I was on a phone with somebody. I was on a phone with a friend. Whoops. So, anyways, when I was in fourth grade, this kid in my class, his dad died. Um, and I had found out like day of he got like dismissed early to like go say goodbye to him and stuff. And I like felt really bad, and I was like gonna hang out with a friend that day, and then I like felt bad, and then the whole time we were hanging out was just like awkward. So then Monday we're back in school, that kid's back in school, whatever, whatever. Instead of just letting him be and like have like a normal time, for I don't know who organized this. For some reason, they decided to have the principal come to my class and have a whole class meeting about the fact that his dad died with the kid in the room. And then at the end, we're like, any questions? At the time, I thought nothing of it. Looking back, what possessed them to do that? Again, kid in the room. So that was, unique. And then when we were in, I forget what fucking grade this was, somewhere between like second and fourth grade. Actually, all of that was COVID. I think this was fourth grade. Um, the blush is heavy, guys. I know, but I promise it'll like get lighter later on. This guy who posted videos on like YouTube or something about being kindness with like about being like kind with like a ukulele or something, like came to my school for like an assembly or whatever, and he was like doing his like finale thing, and he was like walking across the stage. We had a cafetorium, which is like an auditorium in a cafeteria, so everyone was like sitting on like the ground like watching him, and the stage was only a few feet up off the ground, and there was like steps leading down from it. um and he was singing some song on his ukulele. I forget what the fuck it was. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't really care that much. This old fucking man falls off the stage, and I think he landed on I'm sorry for laughing. It landed on a kindergartner. No, I think two kindergartners. It's not funny. Landed on like two kindergartners and like twisted his ankle. Sorry. It's because he fell off the stage, but because there's steps, he like fell down the stairs too. Anyways, my friend was very, 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 very concerned for him though, and she was like crying because she like felt bad, and she was like really hoping he was okay. So like, the teacher let me go with her to the nurse's office to make sure that he was like alive. They had to give him like crutches and like an ice pack. He lived though, guys. Don't worry, guys. Um, and then this was fifth grade, I believe. No clue, what like, what the fuck's the word? Um, what I don't know what provoked this. I don't know what the reason behind this was. I don't know if there's something I don't remember, if they just decided that we were of the age, but they had us have an assembly on just fifth grade. Child pornography. This assembly took place in the cafeteria, of course, the cafetorium. All the cafeteria doors to the hallway, which was only two, but still, were wide open. The person talking loudly into the microphone, and they were like first graders walking by, and he was like, possession of child pornography? Um, adjusting this, so I hope you can hear it better. I moved it down at first because I kept bumping it, but I was like, I don't know if you guys are gonna hear me that well. Why did we have that assembly at like 5th grade? What was the reason? And everybody was kind of just like laughing at like all the words he was using, but then he was talking about like how illegal it was, and this like famous person who got like tracked down and like killed because his oh my god, her stalker like recognized the train station, the reflection of her eye in one of her selfies, and I was like, right, what the fuck, traumatizing us for what? Next 3 are cute. Language. So we were like elementary schoolers. Looking back, we had the dirtiest mouths ever. Starting mostly in 4th grade. Like, I don't know why, but like as a grade, in my class especially, we're like the kids were like cussing like every other word in the sentence. But the funny thing is, looking back, we were using them right. You know when a kid doesn't really know how to cuss yet, and he's like, "Shut the shitting up, mother bitcher." That like was not like I like was like, oh, that was probably what we sounded like. Probably sounded like really lame. And then I think back on like all my memories from 4th grade. I was like, okay, so actually we didn't. Like the way that I cussed in 4th grade is like almost equivalent to now. I'm like, holy shit! Like what was I doing? What were we as a group doing? Why am I already out of setting power? Another great question. And my 4th grade teacher was like the nicest lady in the world, so she honestly didn't really care that much. But I don't know what our issue was with it. There were a few times that she had to be like, guys, can you like not? These are some unkind words, guys. And then the next one was one time in 4th grade, this kid was just bothering me so bad. He was being so annoying, and he kept like hitting me on the shoulder because like I think he wanted me to play like this one game that I usually like play with like a bunch of the kids in my grade, and I forget what the game even was, but I just remember I like didn't feel like playing that day. I was like tired or something. I don't know. I was tired a lot in 4th grade. I did not sleep that year. And he was like, oh, like I'm just gonna like hit her until she like says something. No clue what possessed that kid to say that or actually go through with that, and he just kept like hitting me on the shoulder and over. So I got up and I hit him back, and apparently it turned into a fight. Like it did, but like it's not that deep. Like it's fucking 4th graders. We weren't slamming each other into concrete or nothing. So I did get suspended, but hey, that's okay. There's a hair on me and I can't see it, and it's bothering me like a lot. But yeah, so then I was in in-school suspension like the next like day or something, and then like it happened at recess, so I wasn't allowed to go back to recess for like a week or something. I don't fucking know why. And they're making me sit in the office during like my in-school suspension, and my principal was like, oh, I want you to write like an essay about like what like happened and like what you did wrong. Excuse me. So you see, at this time I didn't really like my principal. I was not a fan of her. I wrote some not nice things in that letter that we don't need to talk about. I think I got in more trouble for that letter than I got in for getting suspended by both my principal and my parents. They didn't care about the suspension part because I told them, I was like, okay, well, he was hitting me, and I was defending myself for real, and they were like, okay, yeah, that's what self-defense is. Like, obviously, you shouldn't even have gotten suspended if all you were doing was defending yourself because this kid wouldn't stop hitting you. I was like, that's what I'm trying to say. Preach that. They weren't as proud about the essay. They were not very happy about that, but who cares? Anyways, and then my principal was like yelling at me for it, and it's like I don't know if she wanted me to be quaking in my boots or something, but it's like you're a wrinkly middle-aged lady yelling at me. I'm not like, do you see my timber shivering? What do you want me to do? And I'm saying that because as she's yelling at me, I'm like looking at her like, because like, why are you mad at me for fighting back? As if this wasn't literally about like the very not very nice note. Um, and she stops in the middle of yelling at me for like the note and all that. She was like, stop looking at me like that. I was like what? And then she was like, oh, you know what you mean or something. And then she was like complaining about my attitude. Adults always have something to say about my attitude. Like I'm genuinely such a nice person for real. Don't even. I'm so nice. Don't play. Yeah. That principal also hated my class. I don't know if this is in my like notes of like memories, but she was yelling at my fourth grade class one day, which again shocked my teacher. Was so nice because it was the worst combination of students probably historically possible. And she was yelling at us one time, and she was like, this class alone has gotten in trouble more than both of their fourth grade classes, all three fifth grade classes, and all three third grade classes combined. So is that like a record or yeah? Anyways, no one really gave a fuck because no one liked her. No one else liked her either. We had to take a picture with her on field day. No one in my fucking class was smiling. Anyways, next, when we were in fifth grade, we read some more books. We read books on um like slavery and stuff like that, and like racism. And um my teacher, I don't know if I recall her saying the N word. I think she did, but I don't know if I vividly recall it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she did. But she said many very, very, very offensive things about like black people, and she kept being like, "Oh no, it's in the book. It's in the book. It's okay." And then one day, one of my friends, because we had two like black kids in my class, because my school is like my town is like mostly white people. I mean, lately, but there's been a lot of like Asian people and Brazilian people too, but especially at this time, it was mostly white people. So again, there was literally two black kids in my class of like what 23, 24 people, and one of them who was my best friend, like we took the book and we were reading through it, did not say some of those things in there. She was like, "Oh, it's in the book, so it's okay." Like it's not me saying it; it's like the people in the book. And then one of the other two fifth grade teachers, makeup is not coming off. Was out for like the whole year because like her dad was sick or something, and like I don't know, but she was like really rude about it. Like she wasn't even like, guys, my dad is sick, so it's just been hard for me. She was like, my dad's sick, so like I'm just not gonna be here. She was like rude about it. She had two different subs, and I don't know if it was one of them or both of them, but one of them said the N word hard R multiple times while reading these books. All of these teachers were white, by the way. I don't think I had actually no, I had one black teacher in elementary school, and that was my guidance counselor. She was nice, but anyways, um, so yeah, that was crazy work. Not to mention uncalled for. And okay, getting down to the nitty and the gritty. So we had three principals in elementary school. They just kept quitting. My first one, I think I only had for like 1 year, and she didn't seem to like me, but she didn't seem to like anybody. She was mean. She was this mean fat old lady. So yeah, I didn't really care that much when we got a new one. I did care when it was a principal I definitely did not like. I started off on the wrong foot with her in first grade. I got in huge trouble, and if I'm being so honest, I don't remember what I was in trouble for. I just remember that I got like in big trouble with her, and then she was like, my parents were mad at me too, and I was like, guys, I didn't do anything for all. I did. I just don't fucking remember what. Um, and then thankfully I didn't have to see her much during COVID, which started for me in second grade because I was born in 2011. So I was in like second grade when 2020 happened. And so it's uneven. My tummy hurts. Oh, I think I have a period cramp. What if I just kill myself? It's like my third one today. I usually get like one a cycle. But anyways, yeah, they didn't last very long in my school. They don't last very long in my school system, actually. My public school system is burning through principals now that I think about it. We've had a lot. Who cares? Anyways. So this second one, again, thankfully I didn't have to see her much during COVID. Then she was the teacher who suspended me, the principal, I mean, who suspended me in fourth grade. And the same one who yelled at me because I wrote a beautiful poetic note to her. She didn't appreciate it. And then she quit, and she was like going around to all the classrooms like telling us about how she like quit her job to go to a school with a better pay and better people. And she was like pretending to like fake cry and stuff. And like I don't know about the other classes, but personally mine couldn't care less because like no one liked her. And the second she left, we all started talking shit about her, and my fourth grade teacher, who was super awesome sauce, started like agreeing with us on all the stuff we were saying. And then what the fuck was I saying? She randomly called me out while she was telling her sob story about how she was quitting for a better job at a better school with a better pay. And was like, and Alex, your dad, he's so funny. Like I email him a lot. It was like, what does my dad have to do with this? And I was talking to my dad like a year later, and he goes, oh yeah, I saw her outside the school once, and I tried to say hi to her, and she side-eyed me, and she looked at me like really offended, and then said, I'm sorry, who are you? And he was like, it's Agent Alex's dad. And the principal was like, oh, okay. Your dad is so funny, bro. You don't like my dad. Like, why are we actually lying? In the big, what year is this? 2-2. Which was, you know, yeah. And then I'm trying to remember the next two. One of them was family. So basically, one day in fourth grade, my friends got bored, and they were like, "Oh my god, let's play family." I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "You be the mom." And in elementary, and I hit puberty very, very, very early for whatever reason. I had to start wearing a bra in second grade, and I would always be like really careful on like Zoom meetings. I would be like, "Is my bra strap covered by my t-shirt?" And then third grade, I had to start wearing deodorant. Fourth grade, I finally got my period. I was like 9. Anyways, for that same reason, I was immediately made the mom. No discussion. Because and like they'd actually said out loud. I was like, wait, why am I the mom? And they're like, oh, because you have. So what is next to my routine? Eyebrows, because I don't have any. So then it started off by like I just had like 3 kids, and then it quickly became 4 kids, and they were supposed to be like my biological children. And then this one girl that now that I think about it, I was never friends with, so I don't know why she was a part of this game, became my 5th daughter, and she was adopted by me. The rest of my children were biological, apparently. Why were we deciding who was adopted now that I'm thinking about it? We were like, she was like, I'll be adopted. I was like, okay, you don't look like me anyways. None of the other girls did either. And then I had 3 sons as well, one of which was also adopted. And then the game kept persisting on, and like all those kids would like jokingly call me like mom. And then if they like had gotten in an argument with like each other, they would be like, oh my god, they're being a bitch, because of very colorful 4th grade language. And I was like, why am I being a peacekeeper right now? Like genuinely, what is happening? Why is this like my job? The game just like kept going, and then by 5th grade I had like 8 children. 2 were adopted. One son and one daughter were both adopted. One of my biological sons had another son who also had a dog, and it was that same son that was like bothering me in like 5th grade. again like a year later, and he was like, "Mommy, I'm so dead ass. This actually happened. This was the weirdest fucking elementary school ever." When I'm looking back at it, what was going on? He was like, "Mommy, I'm thirsty." No, he said he kept saying I'm hungry. I was like, I don't fucking care. Those are some strong words. Um, and he kept being like, "But I'm hungry, but I'm hungry," and I kept telling him to shut the fuck up, and I kept saying I didn't care because I was like a cigarette mom or something, I forget. And he was like, he kept saying like, "Oh, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, feed me, feed me, feed me." And I was like, "Okay, what the hell do you want?" These are some big feelings. And he looked at me and he went, "I want milk," and I was like, "You can leave." I wish I was making TS up. In order to these people's defense, we were like fifth graders, so like I don't think we understood what like sexualizing was. But, like looking back at elementary school, hitting puberty like early is quite an experience. Um, so all that happened, I guess, and then what was the next thing? Oh, by the way, one day at lunch, my lunch table and the lunch table next to ours were like playing a game of soccer while sitting down, and the soccer ball was a milk carton, and um teachers kept coming by and like confiscating the like milk cartons, and every single time it got confiscated, someone would just like spawn a new milk carton out of fucking nowhere. And one day, and at one point, the like fucking I don't know, the like sixth milk carton got taken. So I was like, "Oh, like does anyone have like any more milk cartons?" And this one kid looked at me and he was like, "Well, you do," and I was like, "No, I don't." He was like, "They're on your chest." I'm trying not to open my eyes too wide because I don't want to smudge my eyeliner. I beg the finest of pardons. Excuse you? What? So that was lunch that day. Speaking of lunch and milk, I have a history of getting along with lunch ladies. I don't know why. I just always do. Um, and so don't get me wrong, loved the lunch ladies at my elementary school. The food at my elementary school was like poisonous, which was a joke at first, but I think kids have actually gotten food poisoning from my elementary school. Um, they gave us lasagna once, and I was like, "TS looks too good to be true." Flipped the like pasta thing open, and the pasta was purple in spots. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know why. It just was. You don't fucking know why. What is this? I'm trying using this today. Yeah, it just was. I guess we just don't question that. And then one day in fourth grade, my fourth grade class was the first one to be down there for lunch, which meant we got lunch first. So we're all super excited. And a ton of kids got cereal. Fuck! Cereal that day. Um, the excitement died down quickly because the milk was so expired that it was chunky, and then when kids started reporting it, they took the milk cartons away, and we didn't get milk for a couple of months. Ew. I remember when they would give us cheeseburgers, and the burgers were so bad that kids would take the patties out of the burger, coat them in the thickest possible layer of ketchup, and then eat them with their hands because that was the only way that they were like edible. It was really bad. Basically, I had a teacher get fired. We had 3 teachers fired from our school. Well, one was a rumor, one was obvious, and one was like 1,000,000,000% confirmed. So the first one that was like a rumor was there was a fifth grade teacher and everybody loved him. I think he was also the vice principal. I don't know. He like organized a lot of like activities. He would play like music at assemblies, and like everybody loved this man. And he had got fired. He like left the school one day and like nobody really knew why. And then this other kid whose mom I think like worked like in the school system said that supposedly he had been fired for allegedly like flirting with like parents during like parent teacher conferences, which is unique. And then a little bit later in the cross I was talking to a girl who was in all this was like 6th grade, because I remember it's like 5th and 6th grade for like one of the for like the lacrosse team, and it was a 5th grader from one of the other elementary schools, and she goes, oh yeah, he was at my school but he got fired. I was like, he moved to your school after mine? She was like, yeah. I was like, why was he fired? So apparently at this new school a few years later, he had I can't recall why, I don't know if I even found out why, he had gone to a student's house and like rang the doorbell, and it like caught the grandma of the kid off guard. And the grandma survived, but apparently she had like a heart attack because she was like so like startled. And yeah, he got fired. The next teacher who was fired originally had his own category, but that was because for some reason I just forgot he was fired. I've been avoiding naming names, even though I doubt many people are going to see this video, nor like try to hunt down these people, but I will say his name. So I had a music teacher in 4th grade who was named Mr. Pratt. I'm specifying 4th grade because kindergarten and 1st grade, I had a teacher everybody loved, a music teacher everybody loved. He was so nice. Everybody in the school loved him. He quit because he had like a son, and he said like, oh, I really want to watch like my son grow up, blah blah. I want to be able to have a lot of time with my son. And everyone was like, aw, so cute, so cute. So we got a new one. She was like a bitch. No one liked her. We had her 2nd and 3rd grade. 4th grade, she disappeared off the face of the earth. She ended up coming back in 5th grade, and people started feeling bad for being mean to her because she actually left due to cancer. She survived though, guys. Don't worry, like she's good. I actually saw her like again like this year for some reason. I have zero idea why. And so we had a music teacher, obviously, and his name was Mr. Pratt. This was for 4th grade only. So starting off strong, so he made us these name tags, and we got to like decorate them. And sometimes he would have students pass them out, and sometimes he would just like call students names. Give me 5 seconds. And whenever it was my turn, like if he called my name, he would hold the tag like really. He called them swag tags. The fuck. He would hold it really close to him, so I'd have to like lean in. And then when I would take it, he would lean like over the card, like towards me, and start talking about some bullshit. I forget what the fuck he would talk about. But he would always just like be saying some random shit to me, or he would just like make like uncalled for like small talk. And I just remember like I didn't know like what type of person he was at the time because I was in like 4th grade. I realize why I felt so uncomfortable now. Anyways, um, and other students were like, "Wow, it's like really weird how he does that." I was like, "Yeah, it is." And I just remember I always like felt uncomfortable. I know why. And he would just be like overly close with me like all the time, and he would like one day we had to do this like partner dance, and everyone was like supposed to get with like a partner, and I was in like a trio back then, and they both like got with each other before like I've sat on the other side of the room as them for like our spots on like the carpet. um but yeah, I sat on the other side of the room, so they got to each other before they got to me, so they were already like partnered together by the time I got there. I was like, you guys want to be partners with anyway, if you guys want to be partners with me? And they're like, oh sorry, like we're already partners with each other. I was like, okay. Am I looking at myself weird? Does my face look lighter on one side or something? I think I'm just tweaking. Does my right eye look bigger? I don't know. What I do know is that my eyeliner's not as pigmented as usual. So they both said no, and I was like, fuck. And I'm looking around. Everybody else has a partner already for this dance. I'm like, wait, I don't like this game, guys. And then finally, this kid that I was friends with comes back. He was at the nurse's office. And I was like, oh my god, my savior. And he didn't look too pleased about having to do like a dance, but like immediately Mr. Pratt was like, because like if you basically, I was really mad that I didn't have a partner, because if you don't have a partner, you have to dance with the teacher. I didn't want to do that. So I was like, oh my god, my lord and savior, when this kid finally came back. And then my like Mr. Pratt noticed him coming, and he's like, oh, like where were you? And the kid was like, oh, I was at like the nurse's office, and he just had like one of his eyes was like itchy or something, and the Mr. Pratt was like, oh, like, do you think you need to sit out? Anybody would take up that opportunity. So obviously the kid was like, yeah, I do. Oh, okay, fuck you too. So yeah, I had to dance with him, and I hated it. So for most of the dance, he would hold hands, and he would hold my hands really tightly, and he would also like rub them with like his thumbs, and he would hold me like really, really, really close to him, like when we danced, like we would like literally like almost be touching. And this fucking man, bro. The song would repeat a few times that we were dancing to before it would stop completely. And so that was like the only time he would let go of my hand. It was to go like restart the song and pause. Accessories. Um so fine, so I was like, oh my god, this is fucking torture. So then finally music is over, and my teacher has come back to like pick us up from like that classroom and like bring us back to like our fourth grade classroom. And the song is almost done repeating for like its last time. I'm like, thank God. And then like it ends, and I tried to walk away, and wouldn't let go of my hand. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I want to keep dancing with you. I was like, heh, music is over. Look at the time, bud. And then he was like, no, but I really wanted to keep dancing with you. I was like, that's not my problem. And he just kept saying like, oh, but I really want to dance with you. Like I was like, I really like enjoyed dancing with you. Blah 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 blah. And kids were like looking at him weird because they were like, what? Wait, what do you mean by that? Like, Mr. Dude. And anyways, and then somehow he managed to restart the song. Music was already over, and then we had to dance like 100 more times. I was literally going insane. I was like, oh my god, I fucking hate this man. Oh my god, my cramp is getting worse. For what purpose? Anyways, and then one time he was like talking to me while I was trying to get my swag tag in peace, and he's like, oh, did you hear like not Cage the Elephant, Rage Against the Machine is coming this weekend to Boston, which was a band that I don't mind them now. Like I'll listen to them if they're on the radio, but I don't really listen to them like in my free time. Like they're not anywhere in my Spotify. But I was a really big Rage Against the Machine fan in fourth grade. And I don't know how he knew that, because I didn't really talk much about music in fourth grade, because that wasn't like something I was like super interested in like I am now. So I don't know how he knew that about me. Uh, but yeah, he knew that. Don't know why. Don't know how. Moving on. So he was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, did you hear they're coming into like Boston this weekend? I was like, oh, really? I didn't. He was like, yeah, like, blah, blah. My friend told me, are you going to go? And I was like, probably not. And he was like, oh, that's a shame. Like, I really wanted you to go. I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, like, I might not go if you don't go. I was like, then don't go. Then don't go. So he was like dragging it. Like I was like trying to pull away, but he was still holding on to like the tag. So I was like, let go. I want to go sit down. And he was like, oh, like why aren't you going? Like why can't you go? I was like, oh, like I bet tickets aren't even there anymore. Like they're a good band. They're probably sold out. He goes, oh no, I like double checked just to make sure. Yeah, they still have tickets. Okay. I was like, okay, well, like I doubt my mom would be able to like take me. He was like, well, why not? I was like, Because she's busy. That's why. That's why not. And then let me grab some more jewelry. Y'all still be able to hear me though, trust. So I was like, I'm like telling him, like, oh yeah, my mom's busy, blah, blah, blah. She won't be able to take me. Whatever. And he's like, oh, well, like, I can just take you. Like, I can pick you up and take you, like, from my house in his car. He was like, oh, I can just, like, pick you up from your house and we can go. So, like, if alarms weren't going off in my head already, they most certainly weren't now. Mister, you should not be doing that. He's still fucking yapping. He's like, I was like, oh, like, blah, blah, I don't think my mom would, like, let me do that. And he goes, so I keep whipping out excuses. I'm like, oh, my mom's to grocery shop, she's busy, she couldn't take me, whatever. And again, so now he's offering to drive me there into Boston from my house. And so I bring out the big guns. I'm like, no adult can say no to this. I'm like, I don't think my mom would let me. This motherfucker has the audacity to go, your mom doesn't have to know. Excuse you? Fuck, you mean your mom doesn't need to know? I think she does. I think I'd prefer it if she did. Just let you know that. Your mom doesn't have to know. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. like what? Don't worry, guys, it did not go. But, you know, it's okay, guys. He got fired. And then lastly, I found out about this, I think, this school year in the firing category. The only, like, 5th grade teacher people liked was apparently caught drinking in her car in the school parking lot and was fired. Let's begin. Okay, so we all know what shipping like characters from a show is. Yeah, so there's this one kid in my 4th grade class, and everybody shipped me with him. Like everybody, and like the like kids that were supposed to be like my kids, like my family, because like the family game, they would always say that like he was like their dad. And I would constantly be like, okay, you guys have like a fucking absent father. You guys are fucking fatherless. He's not your dad. Word for word, because I never ate a bar of soap in 4th grade and therefore had a dirty mouth. And they kept being like, oh no, like he's our dad, whatever. You guys are like married. And one of my sons was like, yeah, like I see you guys in like hot tubs together. He was like, I saw you guys make me. We were well aware of how kids were made, so I was like, no, you didn't, because that didn't happen. What? I hope 4th graders aren't like this now. This was like wild. Like my teacher shipped us. She would always put us at the same like table group whenever she moved our desks around. And we had a field trip, and she made it so that we would be partners for like the full field trip. She didn't help the rumors, the assumptions. Then one time in 5th grade, I had a horrible period cramp. Like because of genetics, I get really bad cramps, and had a really, really bad one. So I was like, let me go to the nurse. I go to the nurse. Little kids in there. Just my luck. I have 2 lip glosses I can use. This one looks very different, like when it's actually put on. It's too purpley. I'm not gonna do this one. So Okay, yeah. So I went to the nurse's office. There's little kids in there. They all like stare at me like I was like an alien or something. I was like, hey guys, hey. So my nurse is like, oh hey Alex, like what do you need? I was like, oh like I had a really bad cramp. Do you have any like ibuprofen? Because I was used to taking like ibuprofen when I had cramps. And she was like, oh sorry, like I don't really have ibuprofen. Are you sure you can't just like sit down for a minute? I was like, and I realized like based off like how she's talking, I'm like, holy shit, she doesn't know like what kind of cramp I'm talking about. Fuck. So there's like little kids in there. So I'm like, oh, it's not a running cramp. And she was like, oh no, wait, I don't have anything for those. Brother Noah, Nurse Rose, come on. So I had to walk around the rest of the day holding a heating pad to my stomach, which was really embarrassing. Yeah. Alex, what's that heating pad for? None of your business. None of your business. And one day in 5th grade, me and these two kids I was friends with were all like hanging out at recess. And one of them she had her like jacket off or like sweatshirt or whatever, and it had like a zipper on it. And she was like spinning in circles. I have zero recollection of like the context of like this. And the other kid was like laughing at something. We were all having a jolly time and like giggling. And the two of them got too close to each other, and neither of them were paying attention. And the zippet of her jacket whacked him in the mouth and chipped two of his teeth down to the gum. Adult teeth. Um, it was these two. She felt really bad, so like we tried to walk him all to the nurse's office together, and then teachers yelled at us for like not being outside. I don't know, because it was like supposed to be recess, and we were like, two of his teeth are gone. Anyways, I have more. Let me look. Wow, we are over an hour. So in 3rd grade, I have no recollection. No recollection of like why we were doing this. I can't remember for the life of me. I feel like I grew like a conscience, like a fully functioning one in like 4th grade. Sorry about that one. And for some reason my teacher like arm wrestled this random girl in my 3rd grade class who was a little on the skinnier side. And I don't know why, because this teacher was bigger than me. So my actual teacher had a baby and was on maternity leave. So this was a sub we had for like the whole year. And at one point she like was like showing us like pictures of her and her boyfriend. She was like, oh, don't tell the principal, like I could get fired. So we were like, okay. I didn't learn anything in 3rd grade. The rest of this might be a mukbang because I think my sister and my dad are taking her driver's test right now. My mom is at work and I'm very hungry. I didn't eat lunch today and I barely ate breakfast. So we'll be back with the food portion. Hopefully I remember the rest of these because I'm not bringing the fucking iPad out of my room. Change of scenery. How do we feel about my kitchen? Delivery truck just drove by. Anyways, I have to keep pausing and playing the video periodically because I don't want my phone to shut off. Mind if a white girl speak a little Mexican tonight? I'm gonna put the reference in because it was niche. So, if memory serves, the next one was that one day in 3rd grade, for whom, I don't know if that was the right way to use that word, but I don't really care, knows what reason, a kid, you cannot see my face right now. Okay, I'm on my knees right now. A kid in my grade at recess, I think he was just having a bad day, like dipped, like he just left the school. We're outside at recess, and he just ran into the street and started like running. And they sent like the whole staff of the school after him. They barely caught him, and by the time they got him, he was like at his house. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he was just having a bad day. And this one kid, who was one of my sons, The kid who ran away, I think he was my son's son, so my grandson's dog, I think. Um, one of my other sons, not the adopted one, um, we were walking back from our fifth grade health class, and they showed us a diagram of like somebody's diff from like a side profile. Don't know why. And we were walking back, and he turns to me and he goes, "Oh my god, like, did you see it? It was so big, it hung down. Mine doesn't do that." Yo, what possessed this kid to like tell me that? I don't know. He was a funny kid though. I liked him. That kid lives in Australia now, and he found my TikTok account. And then once when I was in second grade, I don't know who started this, but you know, like hey, like supposedly if you say like Bloody Mary like 3 times, she's gonna appear. Someone started that about like the like full government name of the person who like founded my elementary school. So, and I don't know where I'd first heard it, but I thought it was the funniest shit in the world. So I spread it to like all my second grade classmates, and I would like scare them really bad about it. And then sometimes I would like pretend to be like possessed, and I'd be like, she possessed me, and I would like scare kids. And then my teacher got really mad at me for it and like emailed my parents. That's like, okay, it wasn't that deep. And then my school did something called the Turkey Trot, where every year, the last day of school before Thanksgiving, they would have like kids partner up with like their book buddies, which was like a book buddy was just a person from another grade. So like this one kindergarten class and one first grade or one third grade class would all get like the kids would get partnered randomly with like another kid from the other class, and it was called a book buddy. You and your book buddy walked together and did 2 laps around the school. And first grade was one of the only years I was able to make it due to traveling for Thanksgiving. And there was a blizzard that year, and they decided not to cancel the turkey trot. I have no clue why. And my book buddy was smaller than most of the other people in her class, so she was super far behind like her class, and so then I fell behind our class as well, or our classes. And I got back inside the school building like 20 minutes, like 10-20 minutes after the rest of my class did. My class and her class were in like the front. Me and her ended up at the back of the line. And I hated my first grade teacher, and she was honestly a really bad teacher. She just was not good to students. She was yelling at my class for something. No clue what. She was always mad about something. I come in. She doesn't notice me. So I'm like, hey. And she was like, you. I was like, yo, shit. Me? She's like, where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. She didn't give a shit that I was outside in like the blizzard, like away from like her, even though she's supposed to be like fucking watching me. She was mad at me because I don't know, because she was mad at everyone else too. She had no clue I wasn't there. Aren't you supposed to know where I am as my teacher? Real fucking great teacher you are. We meet a third time in a theoretically final location. My dog. Anyways, so she was a terrible teacher, and she still has her job. Actually, I saw her this year. I'm shocked as to how she seems normal now, but like, yeah, what? So there was another kid. I'm not gonna name names. There was 2 other kids. So one of them in 4th grade was arguing with the kid that everyone shipped me with. It looks like it's about to storm outside. I don't know if it is though. I didn't see anything in the forecast last I checked. And him and the kid that I got shipped with were like in an argument, and the kid that I kept getting shipped with was like, "Go fuck yourself, dude." And the kid looks him dead in the face and goes, "You know what? I think I'm so handsome. I will." What? That's about enough out of you. Go home. Um, like, hello? No clue what possessed that kid to say that. What might suck us? Um, that kid one time took off his shirt in front of a bunch of random fifth grade girls. He wasn't special either. And one time, pulled his pants and underwear down at recess because he wanted to show people his balls. Yeah, oh no. And then there's this one kid who like never took off his hat in my fourth grade class, and for some reason my class made a game out of stealing his hat and not giving it back. And a girl wrote something called the Hatstitution, which was an agreement and like an oath to loyalty to always take his hat any chance you got. And every single person in my fourth grade class besides me, the kid whose hat was actively getting taken, one other girl, and one other guy. All the other, I think 19 or 20 students in my class signed it. Fun school year for that kid. And it was an actual like physical piece of paper and everything. That same kid, they made a game in third grade called Chase, insert his name, where everyone would just chase him until they tagged him. And they tagged him in the middle of like the monkey bars. Oh, my sister just passed her driver's test. Good for her, good for her. And they had tagged him, and we were standing like in between the monkey bars, which were surrounded by like the poles that were holding them up. And I'm like, in my head, I was like, wow, I'm so fast. They should catch me next. So I go, yo, you guys should try to catch me next. I turn around and I go to sprint full speed. One of the poles was right behind me, and I rammed face first into it. The day before picture day, my third grade photo, there's a purple bruise right here. It was not a great day. It was not a great day. And then I can't recall if I was ever part of this game or not. Don't ask me how, I don't remember. I just don't. But we would play a game, I think called Indians, where we would pretend to be Native Americans. And this was before we understood why people would call them Indians. And I don't understand now that I learned why people would sometimes call them Indians. Why do people call them Indians to this day? My civics teacher would do that. He'd be like, and then the Indian people, I'd be like, well, they weren't Indian. Well, they weren't Indian. So, but it's called Indians. And we would pretend, guys, we didn't know. We would pretend to be Native American tribes. And everyone had different roles. There would be like the like healers, there would be like the like fighters and like the like hunters, and we would like play it in the woods until we would get like caught by teachers. Um our school every year had like back to school picnics where everyone could just like everyone was invited to come. You could just go. You were told to bring food and just have a picnic and eat and socialize. And me and these three boys were like running around the woods and stuff. And then at one point, we're in like the back parking lot where like one of the entrances to the woods is. And I don't know how this happened, but I was like, yo, where the fuck did they go? Lost all three of them. Don't know how. Don't know how. So I was like, okay, they're probably in the woods. And it's like starting to get dark. So I went, I'm gonna speed talk this one because it's long and I'm like pushing 1 minute 20 seconds. Don't mind how I said 100. So I go into the woods because I assumed that they were going to be in there, and it's getting dark, so it's getting kind of hard to see in the woods. And it's like eerily quiet in there. Like normally people take advantage of the fact that you can go in the woods during these picnics because it's technically not during school hours, so like no one's going to stop you from going in there. Thought I heard the church bells. I don't know if I did. So everyone was like, but like nobody was in the woods right now. Like there were people in there earlier, but nobody was in there now. It's getting really cloudy out. I think it's gonna storm. And I was like yelling their names. I'm like really confused, and I hear like a clicking noise behind me, and like blah 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 blah. And then I thought I was getting chased, and I heard it, and it was super loud, and it sounded right behind me. It was like I was like noise, and I could hear it like thumping on like the ground behind me, like running. I kept turning around, there was nothing there. I kept looking around, no one else was in the woods. I made it to the end of the woods, and I found them, and I was like, oh my god, you guys won't believe what happened. They were like, it's probably a coyote. Then one of the kids was like, okay, why don't we just go to where you heard it? So I went, and I was like, okay, this is where like the noise started. And one of the kids was like looking over there, and he looked scared. I was like, what the fuck is he looking at? I look, there's this like tall like shadow looking thing. It had to have been like at least 7 feet tall. It like looked like a shadow. It was like a woman. She had like short, like messy, like fucked up hair and like a dress, and she was like eerily like slim. And like all four of us book it out of the woods full speed. Uh, two of the boys are laughing when we get to the bottom. Hello. I'm like, yo, what's so funny? And they're like, oh, I don't know, like we just ran. And the other kid looks scared out of his fucking mind. I'm like, did you see something in the woods? Because I was like, I hope I'm not insane. Like, am I seeing shit? So I asked him, I'm like, did you see anything in there? And he was like, oh my god, like I did. I was like, what on earth did you see in there? Because I'm like, I'm trying to know, did we see the same thing? Because now I'm scared. He was like, I saw this tall like shadow thing, and I was like, you saw a shadow? I was like, yeah. I was like, how tall would you say it was? He was like, I don't know, like 7 or like 8 feet. I was like, what? What did this shadow thing like look like? And he was like, I don't know, it was like a woman. She had like short, like messy hair. She had like a dress on. She was like really skinny. I was like, oh my god. And then like in 6th grade, me and a girl I was best friends with went to the woods at night because we're smart, and jokingly we're like recording, and then we started like catching it on video, but then we started to get scared, so we left. And then I texted my mom, was like, pick us up right now. And I don't have the video because we're not friends anymore. So I can't show you guys the video, sadly. And then there's this one kid who was special who pulled the fire alarm, I think 3 times in 1 year. Twice, I have no recollection of why. Who's that? Oh, that's a neighbor. And then one time, I heard him while we were outside, and like emergency services were like checking the school for fires, and he was like yelling at his like special ed teacher. He was like, "I know I saw a fire. I swear I saw a fire. I swear I saw a fire." Well, there wasn't one. Very dark clouds covering the sky now. It was like there was like bits and pieces of blue sky when it came down. All gone now. I had more. My cramp is getting worse. In 5th grade, we were in library, which was like a special, and I was trying so hard not to laugh at something. I started like hyperventilating, trying not to laugh, and I got in trouble because I was breathing too loud, and I had to fill out a reflection form about what I did wrong. I got kicked out, sent to the office. They made me fill out a full reflection form about what I did wrong, would I do it again, yada yada yada, yada yada fucking yada. For what purpose? Oh no. I don't know what the purpose was. Made me miss like half of snack time too. That bitch. So through the first 2 years of elementary school, we had this one sub. He would only sub for our gym class. He was this cranky, angry, grumpy old man. And he was so mean. No one liked him. So one day, we had a sub for gym, and it wasn't this dude. And everyone was like jumping for joy because we hated him. And then our next few times, our gym teacher was out. He still wasn't there, and then people were like, okay, where'd he go? He died, and then everyone felt bad for celebrating that he wasn't there. I remember some more of them now. One day we had, so for some reason in 5th grade, they decided to add chorus as a class, and it was our music teacher who had cancer that like came back after 4th grade. She would teach chorus as well, and again, it would just be in the cafeteria, and it would be like 5th graders, like just 5th graders would like sit at our like lunch tables and like sing. I don't know why. And one day, she was so sick of our buffoonery and our tomfoolery. She's like, we're sitting in silence for the rest of class. We still had like 30 minutes. I remember just trying to be quiet. And this one kid had to sneeze really bad. So we accidentally sneezed. People like thought it was funny. I don't know why. The teachers got so mad, and the chorus teacher was like, "That's it. Back to your classrooms." It wasn't that deep. It was just a sneeze. That kid got in so much trouble. I could hear my teacher yelling at him in the hallway. She was like, why would you do that? That is so disrespectful. Do you have any idea how disrespectful that is? Like, one more time, like, doing something like that, and I'm gonna email your parents. Yada, 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 yada. I'm really fat, and my makeup is really yellow and cakey, so I kind of look like a school bus. I felt like throwing a fun fact, and I wanted you guys to be able to visualize her. She one time lied and said she was friends with Joe Keery. He would not like you, bro. Um, and then everybody else just had to sit in silence in like our classrooms. Excuse me. And then they made every single kid in my grade. My grade was I think 68 people. Right? Exactly what happened. It's not that deep. They were like, did the kid really sneeze? Was it all a joke? It's a bodily function, I think. Can you guys let him like live? Can you let him be? And then once at lunch, our teachers were getting sick and tired of my grade again, and the lunches would be 2 grades at a time. So the 5th graders had lunch with like the 4th graders, and they let the 4th graders out for recess, and they were like, okay, like you guys have to stay in because you guys have been bad or like something like that. I don't know. This one teacher, nobody liked her. She wore the same jacket and pants every single day. She one time got mad at me for not wearing a coat because I was sweating bullets. I was so hot, so I was running around a ton. Took off my jacket. She kept yelling at me. I was like, "Can you shut up?" I threatened to get recess taken away from me for a week for not wearing a jacket. It's not that deep. There wasn't even snow on the ground. Felt like sharing that part. Anyways, her hair was so thin. It like went up before it started going down. You could see her bald head through her hair. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'd be like, it was bad. And then she started crying for who knows what reason. And the teachers are like cocoa butter kissing her. And then she was like, that's it, we're calling the principal. So this is our 3rd principal. So it was one specific kid who had mostly made her cry, but all of us were like being like obnoxious, but who cares? Principal comes down. She tries yelling at us, but if memory serves, that teacher had been being really annoying ahead of time. Like the one that started crying, she started doing this thing where she would blow a whistle like randomly, and it was that really really loud one. I think it was the one that people used to use to like scare coyotes when coyotes were like really bad. Do you remember that year? There was like one year where coyotes were fucking everywhere all the time, and people had to carry like coyote whistles. She had like one of those, and she would blow into it as hard as she could for no reason and hurt kids' ears. And she was just being genuinely like rude. So like nobody really cared that she had started crying. So the principal comes down, she's yelling at us, and then the kid that was like the main cause of that teacher crying cuts off the principal and starts cussing her out with like every single word in the book in front of her whole grade. And he was like eating her up. No, he devoured that because I forget what he said, but like word for word, someone needed to tell that principal because she was really privileged. And then it was dead silent when he was done because no one knew what to say. And I was sitting there, I was like, wait, dare I say? He kind of devoured that one. Like, okay. So I go, so I started applauding him because I'm like, okay, wait, you ate that. And then everybody else started applauding him too. We got in really big trouble. Oh, they never found out I was the one who started the applause though. They're like, if anyone knows who started the applauding, they were yelling at us. They sent us back to our classrooms after that. They were yelling at us in our classrooms for how disrespectful it was. And then they're like, and then someone started applauding that behavior. Lip gloss on my hand. Do you even know how disrespectful that is? Yeah. I fear that was the point. Somebody had to tell her. And I guess it was going to be a 10 or 11-year-old boy. I don't know how old he was when this happened. Yeah, principal wasn't a fan of us. There's supposed to be a picture of her with like 5th grade students for like the like newsletter or whatever. I think I just heard someone upstairs. I'm home alone. And my dog is asleep behind me. Oh, you can't see her. I'm gonna move on from that. So she had taken a picture with 4th graders instead. And then there's an off the wall ball wall, which is a wall made of cement for the point of playing the game off the wall ball. It's a cement wall where you play a game called off the wall ball, where you hit a ball, an off the wall ball, and you hit it off the wall. It was gray and boring for years and years and years, and then they repainted it while, like, halfway through my 5th grade year, painted a ton of stars on the back of it. Like, one side they painted, oh, emergency services. Okay. On one side they painted like the name of the school and decorated it, and then the other side they put a ton of stars, and they let the 4th graders sign their name in permanent paint. Hello? What about like us? What about us? Just wondering. What what about us, guys? Fucking whatever. I think there's more. Let me think. In my 4th grade class, one of the kids had the whole Demon Slayer manga, books 1 through 23. He brought them into school so we could read them, and then he put a ton of other kids onto Demon Slayer. I already was watching Demon Slayer, and I remember this was just as Mugen Train was like coming out. I watched what was out of Demon Slayer, which was only season 1, and the page where Mitsuri is butt naked was marked, and he called it, quote unquote, the sacred page. When we had free reading time, like almost all 20 something of us would be reading like manga. And some kids would read like One Piece and stuff. And then one of the teachers saw the page with Mitsuri on it, and all 23 books got confiscated. And that kid who brought them in was the only one who was allowed to read them, and he had to go to the office to get them like one by one. My table is shaking. Who the fuck is that? It looks like a fucking tornado's about to happen. What the fuck? Okay, so the audio is completely gone on this part, but basically we had this thing called the clap out where on the last day of school all the classes would like line up down like up and down the hallways, and the 5th graders would like walk down the hallways and all the students would like clap, and basically we had these like cubbies and they were like big and wooden, and this was for like the younger grades, and this was when we were in like 1st grade, and like as they came down and came through, like they were taking forever to come down, and the cubbies, I guess, in one spot were not attached to the walls very well, and they came like unscrewed or unhinged or something, and they fell and landed on top of this tiny kid, and I want to say these shelves were probably like, I don't know, 100 pounds plus like the backpacks that were probably on them, and it took 2 teachers to like get it off the kid. He missed the clap out that year. Poor fella. I think that's all. So again, please like and subscribe. I've been saying I want to hit like 100 by the end of the year, but it's like August and I think I have like 22 subscribers. Lock in. Anyways, I can post a middle school version of this. Now that I've also graduated middle school, and the middle school ones are a lot more interesting too. I have many original experiences to share. So like comment if you want that. And if I don't get any comments, I'm probably still gonna make one anyways because I need to post videos. And there should be a Turks and Caicos vlog out at some point. And I'm sorry it's been so long since I've posted. I just like, I keep telling myself I'll edit the Turks video, and then I don't get around to it. And then I don't have another video to film. Hi, Rexy. My dog is here. So that's why I haven't posted in like a month. Sorry about that. But yeah, I can post a new one probably pretty soon. And it's even darker outside. And it's like 4 p.m. If that. Anyways, bye guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope your elementary school experience wasn't boring because that would probably suck pretty bad. And yeah, middle school edition if you guys want.